Very good one here, and eventually we will like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff, help promote and rank up my channel. So I decided to do something really different, a heavily edited video that's sort of labor of love to season 2 of The Mandalorian. This is going to be a ranking of The Mandalorian episodes in season 2 from worst to best. And I want to hear your thoughts and opinions on it in the comments section below. I'd greatly appreciate any likes. This video took effort to make, a lot of editing. So anyways, let's get started. Alright, so coming in last place, Chapter 10, The Passenger. This one just really served to introduce the New Republic to grant Cara Dune that badge later on, stranded Mando on this ice planet that is kind of reminiscent of Ilium, and they do have those crystal caves. This felt like one of those crystal caves from Knights of the Old Republic, typically inhabited by giant spiders, so stuff like that was kind of cool, but there's a lot of focus on Baby Yoda eating these eggs when the species is endangered, and it felt like kind of a twisted, sick joke that was overdone, if anything. But ultimately, there are way better ways to set up the New Republic, introduce them, and lead to it getting Cara Dune that badge. This episode didn't really do it for me. It just felt like a fetch quest ripped out of a video game. So, moving on. Up next, Chapter 11. While this one did introduce Bo-Katan into live action, perfectly casted with the voice actress, amazing to see. It didn't really do much overall. It's like Mando gets there, meets these people, has to do a favor for them, and it does introduce the element that they're looking for the Darksaber. Of course, Mando doesn't know that. We, the audience, know that the episode Mando doesn't actually contribute much when he does team up with them, doing them this favor, so he felt really unnecessary in the process, taking a backseat in his own show. This episode was pretty short in comparison, and were they ever really going to take him to Mandalorians? They just showed up, helped out Mando when he was getting screwed over by pirates. There were some interesting elements in here, but it didn't feel that great. It didn't feel like it was a huge contribution. It was another stop in the road, meeting somebody along the way. Yes, overall, this does have a big payoff down the line, but for the moment, it didn't really do much, and the setup was a bit strange and weird. How they run into Mando, or how Mando, where were they taking him? So this one comes lower for me. This one's not that high ranking because it was short. Mando himself, the title character, does not carry much weight. Anyways, let's move on to the next. Well, this one might surprise and disappoint a lot of people. The Jedi is number 6 because Ahsoka Tano, yes, it's awesome to see her live action. It's everything you would imagine. Rosario Dawson is absolutely amazing. This stuff, the action we get here, absolutely awesome, top-notch stuff. We get a kind of Dagobah sense with the environment we're on. Ahsoka Tano talking to Grogu. That's right. We learned the baby's name along with a bunch of other stuff, including the fact that Ahsoka Tano is hunting Thrawn. Now, there's just all kinds of neat little things in here, but ultimately the story just doesn't feel like, it just feels like another stop in the road, do me a favor, I'll do you a favor, and eventually all those favors will finally lead somewhere substantial. This actually does lead somewhere substantial that pays off everything, and it's absolutely amazing, but the episode just didn't do it for me. Something about the action, the setting, the story, I just couldn't get that enthralled by it, but Ahsoka Tano was absolutely amazing, and I'm looking forward to seeing her show, which of course, this wouldn't be possible without this episode laying the groundwork for that. So really interesting to move forward. Of course, the steel that Mando acquires here is tremendously important in what's sort of the final battle for him before this show wraps up. So this episode was tremendously important. It was enjoyable. It was action-packed. The environment, the mood, just everything was pretty cool. but it also is a little underwhelming. The story itself, the self-contained story within it, is a little underwhelming. Coming in at number 5, The Marshal. This one might surprise you. Timothy Olyphant, it's always great to see this guy. Ever since Scream 2, this guy has just proven to be awesome. I'm always interested in what he's doing. If he pops up in something, I'm like, yeah. But this episode, it was very long and drawn out in comparison to most of the season. Probably the longest episode of the show. It had a lot of substance and depth because of it. But overall, the episode felt like it was ripped out of a video game. Knights of the Old Republic, this whole teaming up with Tusken Raiders to tackle this Krayt Dragon. It felt like that while that fan service is cool, I've been there, I've done that, I experienced it. So for me, it felt all too familiar, but at the same time, it was incredibly awesome. I'm still conflicted on where I stand because this episode was really impressive, enjoyable, introduced Boba Fett, that cameo there. It ultimately led to a kind of dead end for the Mandalorian. He acquired this Boba Fett armor, which is tremendously important to later in the season. Tremendously. Without this contribution, so the episode was cool to have this expanded universe character wearing the Boba Fett armor brought to live action. Things like that were cool. The whole Knights of the Old Republic feel, all that stuff was really cool, really enjoyable. But this one comes in at number 5 because I've already experienced the content on the Knights of the Old Republic video game. The situation and scenario is pretty much the exact same. So coming in next, The Siege. This one might surprise you, but I really liked it. It's an action-packed episode reuniting Greef Karga and Cara Dune, not to mention other characters, with Mando for this kind of infiltration job. They go to destroy this imperial base, and it leads to all kinds of answers, not to mention Gene's guy and Carl Weathers' directional debut. So there's just all kinds of cool things in here. A lot of really great solid action. We get a payoff to that whole introducing Mando to the rebels, the Rangers or whatever. Cara Dune gets a badge. Baby Yoda goes to school. First day at school. There's all kinds of neat little things in here, and this leads to a whole bunch of stuff. So this one for me was just incredible. So coming in at number 3 is The Tragedy. This one is it's a really short episode, but it's so concise, straight to the point. It feels like, unlike a lot of the other episodes, if they would be this on point all the time, with all the episodes actually be this length, this one just hits all the beats, bringing back Boba Fett in epic fashion, showing the legend he is, him living up to that name, bringing back the character Finnick, paying off that, that little thing from back in season 1 at the back end of that episode, the boots. This finally comes full circle. It finally comes where it needs to be. It finally reaches that point, and this episode just hits all the beats. It's non-stop action almost the whole way. It's really short, but it's straightforward and to the point. Boba Fett is a badass. Finnick is a badass. Mando, the Baby Yoda finally getting there to the legendary Jedi planet and doing his thing to call out for a Jedi. This stuff, and where it leads, the payoff. I never expected them to go there. It's the most logical conclusion, right? But when you start thinking in terms of reality instead of fantasy, financial, budgetary reasons and stuff, you never expect them to go there. So this episode really impressed me with its action. Boba Fett taking on stormtroopers in epic fashion. However, though, it is very short, and it's probably just fan service, but I ate it up. Let's move on. Alright, so coming in at number 2, The Believer. This episode, the episode with Bill Burr, Migs Mayfield returning, Cara Dune using her newfound powers as a Republic Ranger and abusing said powers very uncomfortably. This episode challenges all the characters' beliefs, especially Mando's, as it addresses the whole helmet situation, the extremist situation, kind of stuff that the episode with Bo-Katan brought up. It brought up some interesting things for our character, and this episode, though, pays off on those things, like pushing it a little further, challenging the beliefs, even our beliefs as viewers. So when we see how these stormtroopers are being attacked by these pirates, and the stormtroopers, the Imperial officers, cheering them on like a full reverse of Rebel victory in A New Hope. A lot of things in this episode remind me of A New Hope, including the set down Bill Burr's character Migs Mayfield has, and it felt like that Han Solo shoot first situation. This episode did a lot of interesting things, including them dressing up like Imperials to infiltrate an Imperial base, but the payoff, where Migs Mayfield takes it, and what they let happen, what Cara Dune just lets them walk away. It was pretty amazing. It was incredible. This, of course, brings up the situation where Mando now is questioning his beliefs about wearing his helmet and all that. It's a fascinating episode that offers a lot of depth and substance, and just kind of flips everything around. It gives you some real insight that you may have never even really thought about before. Rescue. This episode was just straightforward, to the point. Mando teaming up with everybody, him and Boba recruiting Bo-Katan, and going on this adventure, this really clever infiltration mission to just storm the base, make it look like you're under attack, storm the base, get in there and start just mowing down enemies, the stormtroopers, in epic fashion. It was pretty incredible. The Dark Troopers in there were okay. They're not as great as the expanded universe version, but it's really cool to see Dark Troopers and how challenging they are. Moff Gideon being back here with the Darksaber, actually putting it to use and getting in a toe-to-toe standoff with Mando. All these things just come together in epic fashion. Boba Fett, we get a little bit of him fighting TIE fighters before he flees, and of course that in-credit scene with Bib Fortuna, that was just epic. Boba sitting there like a boss. We're gonna get some kind of Star Wars Breaking Bad show, but the reality of Luke Skywalker, that X-Wing, seeing that hand, that gloved hand, knowing they're building up the anticipation, but not showing your face, not showing you his face, and then they finally show you his face, and it's not the best it could have been, but it is the best, in my opinion, better than anything the sequel trilogy gave us as far as that goes. In this was a true version of Luke Skywalker, an epic, legendary, the character we all look at him as. It was absolutely amazing to have baby Yoda there with Luke Skywalker, knowing Luke's going to train him, having R2 and Baby Yoda interacting. There's so many things about this. And the Mandalorian finally taking off his helmet, showing his face, not finally taking off his helmet, but doing it just to show his face to the kid, because this is a tremendously important moment. And there were all kinds of little seeds and stuff planted throughout this season where he's starting to change, evolve, where he'll go against his ways and his beliefs. But also the tension between Bo-Katan and that might be a continuity error, but I just enjoyed all this stuff in here. The fact that Cara Dune is going to take Moff Gideon off, and they might be coming to him, getting information out of him, and maybe that's what her show's about. Her getting information about him, hunting down Imperials, finding all the hidden bases and stuff. Who knows? But I just felt like this was one of the most epic things ever. That, yes, the Luke Skywalker was a little off when it comes to de-aging CGI. They have done better, but this is a TV show budget, and the fact that they had the balls to go there, where no one has gone before. Space, Luke Skywalker. It just redeemed the character after the sequel trilogy just so badly damaged. Not just the character, but Star Wars in general. I found this episode absolutely amazing. It's got me interested in seeing what more can Jon Favreau accomplish. It's really interesting that the guy directing this episode is going to go on to do the whole Quantumanium in the MCU. So this was just an epic adventure, epic way to wrap all this stuff up. Of course, it's not over. Now that new factors have been introduced, the claim to the throne of Mandalore, the Darksaber, all that stuff. It's just really fascinating way to tie up these first 2 seasons. And when will Grogu be back, if ever? Well, that was my ranking of these episodes. You know, from worst to best, this is just my opinion. These episodes, you know, maybe you feel different about them, and I would absolutely like to hear it in the comment section below. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear how you responded and reacted to some of these characters coming to live action. Some of these characters returning, such as Luke Skywalker, R2-D2, Boba Fett, and then you get into the expanded universe characters coming into continuity, into live action. Absolutely amazing stuff, amazing payoff. And it'll be interesting to see if they can ride this wave and continue to keep giving fans what they want. This level of hype, not just cheap fan service, but doing it in a way that's a well-told story, as it should be, and giving us these characters as the legends we expected them to be, as the legends, the books, and all the expanded universe material led us to believe they were before all the retconning and throwing stuff out. And I'm just very curious to hear your favorite episodes, which characters you enjoyed most seeing coming back or seeing come to live action. Very curious to hear your thoughts and opinions. Like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Help promote and rank up my channel, and I'll try to do more videos like this in the future.